John had always felt like he was living in the shadow of his own pain. Growing up in a broken home, he had turned to drugs as a way to cope with the harsh realities of his life. At first, it was just a way to escape, but over time, it became an addiction that consumed him. His addiction had taken over his life, and John had hit rock bottom. His friends and family had given up on him, and he was left feeling alone and lost. But then, something happened that would change his life forever. One day, John met a man named Mark who was a Christian and shared the good news of Jesus Christ with him. Mark explained to John that Jesus loved him unconditionally, and that through his death on the cross, John could be forgiven and set free from his addiction. At first, John was skeptical. He had been to rehab and tried to quit on his own, but nothing seemed to work. But something about Mark's words touched him deeply, and he started attending a local church with Mark. Over time, John began to realize that he didn't have to rely on drugs to feel happy or fulfilled. He started to pray and ask God for strength to overcome his addiction, and he began to see changes in his life. With the help of his church community, John began attending support groups for addicts and slowly started to rebuild his life. He also started to volunteer at a local shelter, helping others who were struggling with addiction and homelessness. And little by little, John began to see his life turning around. But his journey was far from over. As he continued to work through his addiction, John faced many obstacles and challenges along the way. He had to deal with the physical and emotional scars left by his addiction, and he struggled to rebuild broken relationships with his family and friends. One of the biggest challenges John faced was when he encountered old friends who were still struggling with addiction. He found himself tempted to return to his old habits and fall back into the cycle of addiction, but he knew that this was not the life that God had planned for him, and he made a conscious decision to distance himself from these negative influences. Instead, John turned his attention to helping others who were struggling with addiction. He started a support group at his church, where he could share his story and offer guidance to those who were still in the midst of their own struggles. He also started volunteering at a local rehab center, where he could offer hope and encouragement to those who were trying to overcome their addiction. Over time, John's reputation as a mentor and leader in the recovery community grew, and he became a source of inspiration to many. He had found a new purpose in life, and he was grateful for the opportunity to use his own struggles to help others. As he continued to serve others, John's faith in God deepened. He began to see the hand of God at work in his life, and he was amazed by the way that God had transformed him from the inside out. He knew that he could never have overcome his addiction on his own, and he was grateful for the love and grace that God had shown him. But John's journey was not without its struggles. As he continued to work through his addiction and rebuild his life, he faced many setbacks and challenges. There were times when he felt like giving up, and the weight of his past mistakes felt too heavy to bear. But each time he faced a setback, John turned to God for strength and guidance. He leaned on his church community for support, and he kept moving forward, one step at a time. Over time, John's life began to take on a new meaning and purpose. He discovered a passion for helping others, and he felt a deep sense of joy and fulfillment in his work. John's transformation had a profound impact on his relationships with his family and friends. At first, his family was skeptical of his newfound faith, but as they saw the positive changes in his life, they began to see the power of God's love and grace. John was able to rebuild broken relationships and form new, meaningful connections with those around him. As John continued to grow in his faith, he felt a calling to do something even more meaningful with his life. He started to dream of opening a rehabilitation center where he could help others who were struggling with addiction, and he began to work towards this goal with all his heart. It was a difficult journey, but with the help of his church community and the support of his family and friends, John was able to turn his dream into a reality. He opened a rehabilitation center that was different from any other. It was rooted in faith, and it offered a holistic approach to recovery that focused on healing the mind, body, and spirit. The rehabilitation center was a huge success, and it helped countless people find hope and healing in their lives. John became a respected leader in the community, and his work inspired others to pursue their own dreams and goals. Through it all, John never forgot where he had come from. He knew that he had been given a second chance at life, and he was determined to use that chance to make a difference in the world. He continued to serve others, offering guidance and support to those who were struggling with addiction, and he remained committed to his faith, always seeking to deepen his relationship with God. In the end, John's journey of faith and recovery was a testament to the power of God's love and grace. He had overcome addiction, rebuilt his life, and found a new sense of purpose and meaning. His story inspired countless people to believe in the power of redemption and to never give up hope, no matter how difficult their circumstances may seem. And though his journey had been long and difficult, John knew that it had all been worth it. For in the end, he had discovered the true meaning of life: to love and serve others, and to live a life that was pleasing to God.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment down.